my friends and well, good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful day down in South Florida here. We're looking about 68 degrees right now, which is perfect for a jeans and a t-shirt. So, good morning. Looks like this ice fiasco, the ice fascist fiasco continues. We're going to be having ice raids in Central Florida now. Looks like the ice announced that they're coming to Central Florida. And Central Florida is basically a lot of farming communities. So if the Florida businesses that voted for Trump, mainly the agriculture and the home building businesses, if they thought that the worst was over, well, looks like they're going to find out even more. Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh man, birds are very active this morning. You can probably hear them. I don't know if you can hear them, but good morning. Looks like everyone's still asleep. Come on, the world, wake up. It's already after 8. It's a beautiful day down here. Shame to be missing it out. Cheers. Oh, wow. How are you guys doing out there? Good morning. Hope you're staying warm wherever you're at. I know I am, jeans and t-shirt, but hopefully you're staying warm. I remember those days of January going out there first thing in the morning to plow the driveway, the sidewalk so that the kids can get to the bus stop. But I'm fortunate enough to move somewhere where it's a little warmer these days. No snow, although I miss skiing, but every paradise has its traps as well. So Florida's no different. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Sunday morning. I know I am. Enjoying my morning walk. It's always peaceful on Sunday, so well, Sunday morning I should say. So this is the time. Got my coffee. Feel refreshed. drop a comment. See, tell me where you're watching this from, so so I know. Good morning. So, yeah, I'm down in South Florida, so Palm Beach County. So, as I said, today we're having a overcast. Let me see. Let me show you what the weather looks like. It's overcast. There's a little bit of sun here in the morning, but the temperature is about less than 70 or around 70, and it's just a perfect day right now for a walk. So I'm gonna take a walk around the neighborhood, see what's going on. It's looking great. Good morning, Bruno. Can you hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. Hello? I'm not typing, so can only say hello. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm pretty sure my microphone's on. It's showing that it's on. So can you hear me? Okay. You too. All right. So I guess that means yes. I was worried the microphone was failing again. So beautiful. My neighborhood a little bit here. It's looking great. Beautiful trees. So going for my morning walk. Yeah. Not a bad morning. So anyhow, if you guys are watching, where are you from? Where are you watching me from? Let me know in the comments. Maybe I've been there. Haven't traveled anywhere in, second half of 2025. I haven't been able to travel much, but before that, did quite a bit of it. Why so many choose to do fashion defense system that requires a class of workers to easily exploit? That's a good question. So the question is who has the highest interest in that, right? Who's got the cards in the game for that? So try to answer that question. It's not the farmer, right, that's hiring the illegal immigrants, right? It's who is it? I mean, they're definitely benefiting because in some way they are not paying as much money, right? They're paying a little bit less in wages, but who's really benefiting, right? So the society is benefiting, right? And farmers are heavily subsidized already as it is. Not only subsidized, when they go bankrupt as a result of policies, the government has to bail them out. 12 billion this year. And during the first term that Trump destroyed the farmers, he ended up paying, I think it was 12 billion and then additional, I want to say 24 billion. So it was two payments out during his first term. So yeah, so who's benefiting? Now, I'm all for granting people a work visa, because if you know anything about the folks who work in the farming community, they're not moving here to the United States. They're moving here to work and send money back to their countries. That's majority of them. Because realistically speaking, the wages that are being paid here are not necessarily livable here. And if you take those wages to say, let's say Honduras or Guatemala or Mexico, someplace else, you get an excellent return on your investment. Now, if we were to issue work visas, if we were to decomplicate the process of issuing work visas, allowing these people to come in legally, and also being treated fairly by the farmers, right? I could get behind it 100%. And you notice that the only people that get punished for hiring illegal immigrants are the illegal immigrants. Even the law says that every employer in the United States needs to verify that the person that they're employing is eligible to be employed, right? They don't do that. They just hire them. They do file their paperwork. The employers do get a tax break, right? Because they run a business. So they do expense having those employees out. And often these employees also, they get a tax identification number under whatever pretenses, sometimes legal, sometimes illegal. And they still end up paying part of their salary into the tax system, knowing well that they're not going to receive any money back in case of anything, right? The only time that does not count for that, and they can get money, is when they end up in an emergency room, hurt or sick, which is not an ideal situation, right? So at the end of the day, who benefits? Well, the society benefits from lower grocery prices. However, if you start putting on tariffs on countries and they put reciprocal tariffs, especially on food, and that doesn't really work, does it? It's a wash. So, yeah. So that was the answer to that. Who benefits? Right. Let's see. Deny illegals medical care. All right, Barty, Winger, Green. Why? Why would you deny human being medical help? Look at yourself in the mirror and see what kind of person is looking back at you when you're denying someone who needs help. You're denying them that help. You understand that could be you one day, right? The Supreme Court has ruled that everyone in this country, in 1976, they ruled that everyone in this country deserves emergency care. And ironically, our prisoners get the best care. Well, I don't want to say they get the best care, but they're entitled to all the care that they would have had if they were out of prison in the society as a contributing member of society with full care, full health care benefits. So, you know how many people over the years I've seen at the hospital that are prisoners that are there because they've ended up doing something that put them in prison because they found out they had cancer, and they had to be. That was the only way they could get treatment, right? So, good morning. Good morning. And so, ask yourself what kind of person you are. If you're saying, let's not help these people, I'm not that kind of person. Whoever needs gets my help, right? I don't care who strolls in through the doors of my hospital. I don't care whether I agree with their politics or not. That's not the question, or agree with their immigration status or not, or anything. Their lifestyle, their religion. At that point, that person becomes a patient. And if you don't have it down in your heart to see that, then I think the problem is with you and your heart, not with everybody else. So, you can have all your opinions on everything else, but in every country of the world, every country comparable to the United States, they have universal health care, and they do not ask you for your papers before they give you medication so you don't die. No such thing. You get treatment, and you get excellent treatment for almost no money. The United States is the only country that has been brainwashed. Its populace has been brainwashed to think that people don't deserve health care based on the color of their skin, based on their religious practices, based on any other identifiable characteristic you can think of. Because as it stands, we still live by some of the damn Puritan laws in this country. And even though Puritans are long and gone, we still are looking at these laws. Like, for example, the drinking age in the United States is 21. Now, you could argue that the drinking age is 21 because it's safer that way. But is it? Is it safer that way? I mean, you're making criminals out of 18, 19-year-olds that are 20-year-olds that are eligible to go to military service, right? So if you're eligible to go to military service and possibly get shot and killed while defending the country, it's still illegal for you to have a drink when you win a war? Yeah, those are the Puritan values. Morning. So those are the Puritan values that we have. Sorry, my neighbor was walking by with the dog. I can give him a little bit of room to move around. So those are Puritan values. So Canada got drinking age is 19. Most Europe it's 18. But here the drinking age is 21, and it has nothing to do with safety. It has absolutely nothing to do with safety. So it might have to do something with the level of education around here, right? I mean, I'd say, currently the United States is being looked at as a poorly educated country, even though we have some of the greatest universities, some of the greatest colleges in the world. The general population appears to be looking at education as something bad. I don't understand that. I guess maybe if you don't get enough education, yeah, maybe you see those things as bad. But also, it doesn't help that we have a for-profit educational system in here as well. So that definitely limits opportunities for many people. You know, if you're if you're making less than 100 grand a year in this country or as a family, it's going to be very difficult for your kids to go to college. It's going to be very difficult unless they get some kind of scholarship, right? So my oldest, for example, has a scholarship that is paying for his entire education, except about maybe $3,000 for room and board per semester. So, which is not terrible. I mean, that's pretty good. So far, she has to take out any student loans. Got a 529 account when about 5-6 years ago. That account has doubled in 5 years. So educational accounts are great, and been able to help her out. So she hasn't even used that educational account because she's hoping to go to graduate school and go become a physician. So, which is good. But yeah. But then at the end of the day, we're talking about ICE, right? And ICE is not really standing up for the American values of free speech, due process. They're violating any number of amendments, any number of the core 10 parts of the Bill of Rights, right? And same thing with many politicians. Same thing.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi. Like for example, Mike Johnson, right? The very first amendment to the Constitution says that Congress shall make no laws with the respect of religion. And the United States military had a provision that was supposed to go in that Trump actually campaigned on, that those who are having a hard time getting pregnant, they would cover the in vitro fertilization. And Mike's personal beliefs are, they stripped that from the provision, right? They stripped that from the military bill that was supposed to be paying for that. Now, we're not talking about a great amount of people. They're going to be using IDF, because I'm assuming that most people don't have issues with fertility. So cost wouldn't be an issue. His issue was that the embryo storage, right? He doesn't believe in destruction of the embryos, which is That's his own personal religious belief, right? I mean, I am, if you ask me if I'm a pro-choice or if I am pro-life, I am pro-choice. I do not advocate for abortion, except for emergency cases, right? And that's my stance. And I can be somewhere in the middle of both, because I understand that sometimes pregnancy, not sometimes, hell, 1/3 of all pregnancies are difficult. At least a third of all conceptions do not go to term. The spontaneous abortion happens in so many women. So I will not stop the legality of abortion. And then if there are complications, there are issues. If there's any other issues, that's fine. You know what? But me, myself, I choose, right? Choose not to, hopefully, my wife, we haven't had any abortions, so we didn't have to go through that. But I don't encourage that. As someone who's Christian or Catholic, I do feel that it's a life, but I do also see exceptions. So I don't have to have a law that stops anyone from doing that, right? I can give people free will to do what they want to do. Because even if you're a religious person, even if you believe in, if you're one of those Christians out there that is protesting abortion clinics, you're protesting people's free will, number one, right? Because God gave us free will shortly after Adam and Eve incident in Eden. So you have free will to do as you should. If that abortion happens to be a sin, then God will judge you, right? Because we're not here to judge people. God is. And since you can say 1/3 of all implantations do not go through term, and women have spontaneous abortions for various reasons, is that God doing that? Right? So at the end of the day, Mike Johnson is playing up to the Christian fundamentalists, and he is not necessarily even going with what the Bible says. He's simply playing up with his playing up to his conservative constituents, who, by the way, pro-abortion, or they didn't have an opinion on abortion, but since the great replacement theory became a thing, this is when conservatives started using abortion as an excuse. But they never did before. So let's see. Let's look at through some of the comments here, because it looks like let's see. There we go. Looks like I'm getting the usual I'm dumb from MAGA. Okay, whatever. You do whatever you want to do. You call me whatever you want to call it. Does anybody do anything about my hairline yet? Because that's usually the one that they go for. Because once you run out of arguments, you go for hairline or physical features or whatever else. That has nothing to do with the argument. So, proud lip-tard over here. But, yeah. Let's see. Replacement theory is a Democrat point. They've been talking about it for years. Can you tell me who in the Democratic Party started that? Because last time I checked, Billy Graham was the guy who was put in charge by the conservatives to spread the great replacement theory and make abortion illegal, right? Because at the end of the day, the great replacement theory says that the white race is being replaced with all the other races because all the other races are having more kids, and the white race over here in America is not having enough kids. And so the one way to stop the white race to encourage white race to have more kids is to stop them from having abortions, because at the end of the day, abortions are an equal opportunity, right? So if you're seeing dwindling birth rates in a certain community, there's got to be a reason for it. And you know what would help the white race, for example, to regain that, to increase the birth rates? Take a guess. Anybody? Take a guess. Oh, I know. Better access to healthcare, safer healthcare, right? After all, birthing, giving birth, pregnancy, all those are, in a way, medical conditions that often, well, not often, but many times there's an issue with them. So if a woman is afraid to go to a doctor when there's a problem because she may get prosecuted by a crazy Christian fundamentalist government, she's not going to go to the doctor. She's going to probably suffer. Many have so far. There's too many stories of women, especially in Texas. That seems to be like a shithole for that, where women go for help and the Texas doctors are afraid to help them because of Greg Abbott and the Christian fundamentalist movement. They put in 10 commandments in a classroom. Thou shalt not kill, but it's okay to kill the mother because she's a woman. And that's the whole perspective that they try to put in. This is the conservative notion. I forget which state was it, Kentucky, where they kept the brain dead mother on the ventilator so that the gestation can come through and whatever. I mean, the family said yes, that's fine, but if the family said no, then that what is that, right? So you can call me whatever you want to call me, dumb or whatever else in your comments. It doesn't faze me, right? Because when it comes to looking at things from a healthcare perspective, I see that every single day. I see every day what happens, and I live in a red state, so I can see that. Even one of our representatives here, just recently, she, a 42-year-old woman, was going to the hospital. She is, by the way, a conservative MAGA Trumper. And McCormick is her last name. So you can look it up, Florida Representative McCormick. And she needed an abortion because she was going to, well, essentially die if she didn't, right? Because there was issue with her pregnancy. I believe sepsis was setting in. Went to the hospital, and they said they can't do anything for her. She kept calling Ron DeSantis, our fearless little Ronnie here, and he wasn't even talking to her. And finally, someone took pity on her, and who knows, maybe possibly broke the law and helped her to get an abortion that was killing her, right? The child in there was dying, was dead already. It was killing her. And so, yes, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I really don't give a damn. But there are certain truths that they're universal truths, and you're not going to change that by calling me dumb or whatever, or libtard. You can call me libtard. I love that. It just confirms that at the end of the day, the argument ends with you calling me names because you don't have a counter argument. So, but such a goofball liberal. Here I go. See, let's see. You don't know what a Nazi is. Sure I do. Back in the youth, I came to the United States in 1988 as a 12-year-old boy. Right, I came in here from a communist country under family reunification. My mom came here as a political refugee from a communist country. My dad was locked up by the communists, and I know what the Nazis are because we studied Nazism in schools for many, many years, and I can tell you exactly what the Nazis are. And the parallels between what Hitler was doing in the 30s and to what Trump is doing now, there you can literally start listing them one by one, and you can see that they're using the same playbook. So yes, you can. To the poorly educated, maybe that is difficult to assess, but the rest of us who study history, it is not. And you don't have to believe me. Crack open a book that was written 20 years ago. Not today, not yesterday, but 20 years ago, before we were all Americans, and before we end up being MAGA or liberal, whatever. Crack open a book that was written by efforts that were put together by Americans who didn't give a damn who was what, right? There was no MAGA back then. There was no libtards back then. And read that. And read what it says about what the Nazis did, how they propagated their message. And you'll be surprised. But that takes effort. It takes effort on people to simply step away from what Donald Trump says and read on their own. So, like, I don't listen to what Joe Biden says, or I don't listen to what any single politician says, right? When it comes to, let's say, medical stuff, I listen to the medical community because, well, they're the experts. When we're talking about things like economics, listen to the economists, right? I don't listen to a single guy who claims to be who claims to be an expert in every single thing. So you know what you call that person. He claims to be an expert in every single thing. So you people made the word Nazis lose all meaning, by the way. So no. Nazis still have a meaning. There's plenty of them here in Florida. Occasionally they come out on the bridge with their little swastikas and their little hate messages. Nope. Let's see, somebody says, mad that the slaves are being taken away. No, I am mad that the government is not following the law and due process as it's outlined in our Constitution. Balding, unshaven, and liberal. There's 3 strikes. Ooh, finally. Thank you. Yes, I don't like to shave. Balding, I can't help that. Genetics. Liberal, by choice. So, I mean, I could get a hair transplant. I could go to Turkey and I can look fabulous again. But you know what? At this point, I've decided that this is fine. Sounds like you need a better job and stop begging. I don't know if that was towards me, but I have a great job. I don't know. I live in an awesome neighborhood. I have 3 cars that are paid off. A kid in college that I right now can fully fund her, whatever money that she doesn't get through scholarships, because I made sure that she grew up to be a liberal. So I took her to places like libraries and museums, so she wouldn't turn out to be a Republican. And luckily, I'm doing a great job with that. And you can see the let's see, you need meds for sure. Yeah, I take my blood pressure medication every day because, well, the world's so stressful and genetics, unfortunately. ICE has a job to do. ICE does have a job to do, but they're not doing the job that they're given. They're doing a job of, I don't even know what job they're terrorizing people. Boss troll, all he needs is a septum ring, lol. No, I have nothing pierced on my body. I don't wear jewelry. Personal preference. Let's see, how are they ruining the farming community? Are the farm workers legal? So, Justine, we remember this was probably 2 years ago, and I don't know if you remember or not, but there was the great exodus of workers here from Florida, particularly in the agricultural department, and we had whole fields of tomatoes rotting everywhere because no one was picking them. Same thing with construction. A lot of construction halted. And there's more than one social media post from business owners that have been complaining about inability to get qualified workers, because for the most part, the American MAGA folk are not interested in going and picking tomatoes, and they're not interested in going and working in construction because it's too hard, right? That's what MAGA, it's too hard for MAGA. And let's see, and they're from, yeah, and so many of them were undocumented here. They left the state. They went to other states where they were more welcome. So Let's see who else is. Let's see. This is why you do drugs. This is why you do. It's why you don't do drugs, right? Yeah, well, I do only legal drugs, and the only one is for blood pressure. So, but I gotta run, guys. I gotta get my butt to church. You guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining in.